Well, hello there, Uber-Tuber-Ubers and Tuberettes alike. It's a short talk in the trailer, yeah, with who? The old guy. I getting ready to go to work, and I thought, well, clean up my glasses. You get all that sweat and stuff on there, and the. So I put them on, and now I'm thinking, well, for a video, I'd rather not have them on. So there you have it. I looking at a Friday today. We're still working on that remodel at work, and I'm a little kind of shady in my mind how this is going to work because I've already told the office several times that there's no way we're going to finish by the end of today, not even close. And so we've already got scheduled in for next week, and on another job out in Deming. And so I thought, well, I'm not real sure how I want to finish this week up here today. In other words, we cannot finish the job, but because we're still waiting on HVAC to come in and deal with that underground vent thing on the range in the middle of the room. So we'll do what we can do, and maybe I can get going on the gas some. It's going to be a real weirdo on this gas. I'm going to have to push through the roof and tag it in overhead, and that part's okay, except I can't get in with a ladder because there's a ditch in the way. Now, I suppose I could cut the ceiling on the other side and work on that floor, but we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I'm not real eager to jump up and down and try to get some world record amount of stuff done here because you get into a situation where it's a log jam. It's kind of like those hourglasses where the sand is coming into this choke point, and only so much sand can get through at any given moment, which is why they use the darn thing. And well, I don't know if anybody really uses hourglasses anymore. The little time thing with the sand. I used to play with those when I was a kid. My parents had a couple of them around the house for some reason. I don't know why. What in the world do you ever do with that thing? And you could use it as a timer. Basically, it was like you didn't have an electrical alarm. Beep, 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 beep. You had an hourglass and look at the sand. Well, it wasn't really hours, more like minutes. And so I'm just looking at the choke points of life, and I was thinking about. I watched a few videos this morning. I call this, I'll get up and sit down and open up the phone and think, I wonder what kind of lies are on here today. And so well, I guess I'm joining in with that. The It sounds like the world is changing and all that stuff, and there's a guy named Richard Vobes. I like Richard pretty good. He's over in Britain, and but I can only handle so much of this guy. And so I thought I'd try to out Richard briefly. And there's a sense in which, as an old guy and as a guy, I've never really majored very well on how to discuss what I'm feeling. Uh, to be honest with you, it just never really arose as a priority. But I'm thinking about the Vobes type vibe, Vobe vibe. Ooh, I like that. He talks about this sense of an impending something coming soon, big, and he's a little more lucid than that. But the point is that we're looking at changes in our world now that at one level, we can analyze it from a political angle. We can analyze it from a spiritual angle. We could analyze it from a historical angle. We could do comparisons. We could do a fair amount of stuff, but all that's up here, right? Let's make sense of it. Let's get a logic picture that formats out well. But what happens when really what's happening is out of the heart, out of your center? You really just feel that something's fundamentally skewed. Something big is like out of place. It would be like kind of having one of your back discs missing now and just really out of whack. You can't walk, and in other words, at some level there's a basic dysfunction down low. I say low, and so I've alluded to in the past the idea that that there are folks who are actually committed to summoning up demonic forces, and I think that's really, really a bad idea. It's like maybe the worst idea. I don't know, but the sense of something subterranean, something down below our feet, something rumbling and moving, and the very landscape of Earth is going to be affected, the surface that we see, by these changes down low. Now, what am I even talking about? In other words, could we go down to the store and find one? Can you look it up in a dictionary? Can you find it in encyclopedia? And so that I've studiously avoided in the past, until about 2 minutes ago, discussing what I feel. And because the problem is, even I realize as I'm discussing it, I'm not real sure that there's anything real involved. But it certainly seems like there is. The pressure is on for America and the world. Will we survive as we were, essentially a quasi-free people, a democratically elected government, etc.? I don't know about the politics exactly, but none of that looks good. None of that looks promising. Look what's happening in Canada right now. In the outrageous nonsense that this Trudeau government is coming up with, and it's not just a little bit of it. It's all over the map. They're talking about a revised Canada, which would be much more like a, shall we say, communist regime than anything that we would be able to put our finger on. But in other words, the changes that are coming upon the earth, the changes that are coming upon the world, the changes that are coming upon us too, you and me, these things are big deals, and yet it's really hard to put your finger on it. You can't seem to, dial one up on the phone. None of them have a mailing address, and so there's a sense in which it's all kind of floating. It's all kind of amorphous, non-physical. Well, it's okay if it's non-physical. There is such a thing as the soul, after all. There is the spirit, and we are spirits. I mean, it's strange to say that I have a spirit. Doesn't that make sense? Rather, wouldn't it be true to say I am a spirit? I mean, among other things. And so, anyway, the short version being, if we can kind of, whittle this down here a little bit, short version being is that if you feel in your life, if you feel in your heart that something huge is about to happen, politically, socially, historically, culturally, but you can't lay your finger on it. You don't know which direction to point, except down. Something from down there is moving. And that's about as accurate as I can get. And so, we can link that inside of a Christian understanding and cosmology and everything to we'd be talking about demons. And that's really where I've been at in terms of this when I'm mentioning these things arising, and people actually are involved. There are cultic rituals and Satanists and all that stuff. But the main change, the difference is that the basic loyalty to truth and reality, and kindness and generosity and reality as we knew it under the Christian ethos, all of that's being shaken. There's a new, and everything that can be shaken will be shaken loose. This is a biblical idea, that everything that is shakeable will be shook, and that which is unshakable remains. So we have the solid rock, the eternal God, and that he doesn't change. He doesn't mess around, and he doesn't waffle. Like today I'm yes, tomorrow I'm no. Yes, the so-called politician leaders that we have, they're humans, okay, and they're fallen. But then a lot of them, beyond being fallen, are actually purchased and bought by wicked powers. So I just wanted to kind of say to you today, if you're feeling that there's something weird that's in the future and it's coming, and it doesn't necessarily look very good at all, don't panic. Don't flip out. the good Lord, he saw all these things coming, and in this, this is an opportunity for us to seek him, to grow in courage, to grow in integrity, to grow in stability and reliability. So when you go into work today and you realize you can't finish it, well, guess what? When you die, you're going to have a lot of unfinished work, stuff that just never got done. When you die, you're going to have to leave behind all the projects. We need to lay our lives in a new way before him, such that as we die, we're raised up again by his call. So that, what I mean is, we're being renewed from the inside through this new supernatural resurrection power that he sponsors and brings into the world. That's the new thing, and the world can't stop it. The world can't roll that back. The kingdom is moving forward. He's capturing hearts and minds today, and thank God for it. But the wicked efforts of a crooked world run by a pervert ex-angel, those things get pretty weird and they weigh on your mind, and it involves a sense of depression or a sense of meaninglessness or a sense of lostness. We reject that. We've been found and we've been restored by another. And so there's a buoyancy inside Christianity that the world can't match. The world doesn't even know anything about it except to hate it. But when we look forward in life and things look woolly, things look ugly, things look creepy, things look like darkness is coming, okay, maybe we're right, but that's not the whole story. Our feelings may be legit. Our feelings may be real. We may actually be tapping into something that's there. And that's not the end of the story. The end of the story is written by the same one who began the story. There is the Creator, the mighty Creator God, and he began all of this, and knowing full well what would happen during the entire episode, he went ahead and did it anyway. Why? He's going to capture out of this crazy tangle of a world that's gone mad, a people for him, who hear him and understand him and walk with him and are glad to be with him. In other words, he went out and did this horrendously huge, unthinkably vast episode called Creation in order to make people like you. You and you and you and you. All you Uber-Tuber-Ubers and Tuberettes who are following Jesus. Last point I'm going to make today is that it looks like there's a movement going on, and you can look this up on YouTube yourself. The idea that the American church might end up more of a home church model in years coming. Consider the possibility. Consider it. It might be true. I looked at some of that stuff today, and I got to thinking, well, things could be worse. Look at the churches in China. Home churches. Look at the churches in Iran, home churches. In other words, wherever the gospel is being squozed and squeezed and crushed, it's home churches where people still flourish in the gospel. Could be happening here next. Worth a thought. You guys have a good day and get out there and make things happen, even though you know you can't finish it.